So today we're continuing our reading of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, entitled The Cosmic Manifestation, Chapter 8, entitled Questions by King Parikshit, and we are on text number 22. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Text 22, please repeat. Yo Vanu Shayanam Sarga.
Yo Vanu Shayanam Sarga.
Yo Vanu Shayanam Sarga.
Yo Vanu Shayanam Sarga.
Pashandasya Jasambhava.
Pasandasya Jasambhava.
Pashandasya
Sayanam Sarga
Pashandasya cha sambhava
Pasandasya cha sambhava
Atmano bandhamoksho cha
Atmano bandhamoksha cha
Yavastanam svarupatam
Yasastanam swarupatam
Please chant.
Yoganushayinam sarga
Yoganushayinam sarga
Pashandasya cha sambhava
Pasandasya cha sambhava
Atmano bandha moksho cha
Atmano bandhamoksha cha
Yavastanam swarupata
Vyasastanam swarupatam Voice, notes.
Yovanushayinam sarga
Yoganushayinam sarga
Pashana dasya cha sambhava
Pasandasya cha sambhava
Atmano bandha moksha cha
Atmano bandhamoksha cha
Vaya vastanam swarupatam
Vyavasanam swarupatam Yoganushayinam sarga
Yoganushayinam sarga
Pasandasya cha sambhava
Pashandasya cha sambhava
Atmano bandhamoksha cha
Atmano bandhamoksha cha
Vyavasanam swarupatam
Yavastanam svarupatam
Yoganushayinam sarga
Yoganushayinam sarga
Sandasya cha sambhava
Pashandasya cha sambhava
Atmano bandhamoksha cha
Atmano bandhamoksha cha
Yasastam swarupatam
Yavastanam svarupatam. Word for word synonyms, please repeat. Ya, all those. Va, either. Anushayanam, merged into the body of the Lord. Sarga, creation. Pashandasya, of the infidels. Cha, and. Sambhava, appearance. Atmana, of the living beings. Bandha, condition. Moksha, being liberated. Cha, also. Yavastanam, being situated. Svarupataha, in an unconditioned state. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Please also explain how, merged in the body of the Lord, living beings are created, and how the infidels appear in the world. Also, please explain how the unconditioned living entities exist. Please repeat. Please also explain how, merged in the body of the Lord, living beings are created, and how the infidels appear in the world. Also, please explain how, the unconditioned living entities exist. Purport. The progressive devotee of the Lord must inquire from the bona fide spiritual master how living entities merged in the body of the Lord again come back at the time of creation. So,
Can you repeat that one more time, please?
yes, the progressive devotee, that means the devotee who wants to make progress, right? The progressive devotee of the Lord must inquire. It's an imperative from the bona fide spiritual master how the living entities merged in the body of the Lord again come back at the time of creation. So what is this? Merged in the body of the Lord. This is not Krishna's body.
Brahmas, right?
It refers to either Garbhodakashayi Vishnu or Mahavishnu. So, in the existence of the universe comes into being by the first Purusha avatar from Krishna. From Krishna, his immediate expansion is Balaram. From Balaram, his expansion is Sankarshan. And that's the Chaturvyuha expansion. Sankarshan, Vasudev, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. From that Sankarshan comes Narayan. And Vaikuntha, the Lord of Vaikuntha. From Narayan comes a second Chaturvyuha. Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. From that Sankarshan comes the Purusha avatars. The Purusha avatars are the three forms of Vishnu that are directly involved in dealing with material energy. The creation, maintenance, annihilation of the material world. Up until that point, none of the Vishnu expansions of Krishna are involved at all with material energy. Material energy is not even active at that point. It's just all spiritual. But when the second Sankarshan expands as Mahavishnu or Karana Dakashayi Vishnu, he's called Karana Dakashayi because he floats on, rests on the Karana ocean. Karana means causal ocean. So the first Purusha avatar is Karana Dakashayi Vishnu or Mahavishnu. From him, as he's lying there in slumber, from the pores of his body come little drops of perspiration, if you will. And what is that? Those are all the material universes, innumerable, uncountable material universes come out in tiny seedling form. Then that Mahavishnu enters each and every one of those universes by expanding himself into another Vishnu form called Garbho Dakashayi Vishnu. Garbha means womb. So Garbho Dakashayi Vishnu enters each and every universe. And he also perspires as he's lying there. And that water of his perspiration forms what's called the Garbhodaka ocean, which fills almost half, just below half of each and every universe. So in each and every universe, there's a Garbhodakashayi Vishnu lying on the Garbhodak ocean. Then from his navel comes what?
The Brahman.
I'm sorry?
The Brahman.
Yeah, what comes? Sprouts from his navel. A lotus flower sprouts from his navel and goes high up. And who takes birth on top of the lotus flower?
The Brahman.
Lord Brahma.
Brahma.
Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma. So, there's Lord Brahma. And he's going to live a really long life according to our years. He only lives 100 years according to his time span, time frame. But according to our time frame, he lives 311 trillion 80 billion years. So while he's living, he's got a lot of days. 100 years at 360 days, just like we do. Each and every day of Lord Brahma's life, the 12 hours of daytime, he's there, he's in charge of the universe, and so many activities are going on. But then he takes a 12-hour nap at night. We're told to only sleep 6 hours or so. Lord Brahma takes a 12-hour nap at night. And during Lord Brahma's night, well, how's the universe going to go on if Lord Brahma's sleeping?
It doesn't.
Right? So it doesn't. So the whole universe, well, not the whole universe. There's 14 gradations or levels of planetary systems. So 10 of them, not the top 4, 10 of them get flooded, including Earth, get submerged in water. So then there's no life existing on these planets because they're drowned by the Garbhodak Ocean rising. So 10 of those planetary systems are drowned. So what happens to all the living entities? They merge into the body of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And the top 4 planetary systems have the very high sages and rishis. So we have Maharloka, Tapaloka, Janaloka, and Brahmaloka, also called Satyaloka. Those 4 planetary systems don't get disturbed during Brahma's night. So anyway, so during Brahma's night, the living entities are merged in the body of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, like in a comatose state, like really deep sleep. And when Lord Brahma's 6 a.m. comes and his alarm clock goes off, he wakes up and he starts his 12-hour day again. And so all the water subsides gradually, and all the living entities who were merged in the body of Garbhodakashayi Vishnu, they come out and take forms according to their past karma, what they deserve. They get a body. Similarly, what happens at the time of Brahma's death, not just his nighttime, but his end of his life, at that time, the entire universe is dissolved. All 14 planetary systems are completely annihilated. All the shells of the universe, that keep it all together, that's all annihilated. All the living entities and all that material energy is merged into the body now of Mahavishnu, Karanadakashayi Vishnu. And his breathing, when he breathes out, when Mahavishnu breathes out, all the universes come, and all, the whole lifetime of the universe happens. And when he breathes in, all those universes get annihilated. So for 311 trillion, 80 billion years, there's no material creation manifested. So those living entities who are still hanging out here in the material world at the end of Brahma's life, they take a really long comatose state in the body of Mahavishnu. And when the next creation comes, they again enter one of the universes and take bodies according to their past karma. Very old karma, but it never goes away. They take birth again according to that karma.
Does it always start at Satyuga?
That's my understanding, yep. Always starts with Satyuga, the 4 ages.
Is Brahma reborn over and over?
Different personality will become Lord Brahma. Just like if you become the President of the United States, you can only serve a 4-year term, get reelected, you can do an 8-year term, then somebody else has to take over. You can't do more than 8 years. So like that, Lord Brahma lives, that really long lifetime, according to our years, 311 trillion, 80 billion. And he's Lord Brahma. Then when he leaves that post, leaves that body, he's liberated. He goes to Vaikuntha, and somebody else takes the role of Lord Brahma. So one has to be an extremely qualified soul.
Is it 12 hours of sleep our time, or is it 12 hours?
His time. Yeah. So very good question. So we mentioned Lord Brahma's lifetime being 311 trillion, 80 billion. His day, 24 hours. Mm-hmm. His 24-hour days, like we always complain there's not enough minutes in the day, right? Not enough hours in the day. Lord Brahma's 24-hour day is 24 hours for him. But for us, it's 8.64 billion years. So his 12-hour day and his 12-hour night are each 4.32 billion years. That's a long day compared, from our perspective. So anyway, when Lord Brahma, a new Lord Brahma takes birth, then the living entities come back. So here, Parikshit Maharaj in today's verse is asking Shukadeva Goswami, please explain, how do those living entities that are merged in the body of the Lord, how are they created again? So this could be referring to either or both the living entities merged in the body of Garbhoddakashayi Vishnu during the night of Brahma. How do they again take birth and get new bodies? And it could also be referring to, how about the living entities who are merged in the body of Mahavishnu at the end of Brahma's life? How do they again take birth in the next creation? Regardless, Srila Prabhupada says that if you want to be a progressive devotee, a devotee who wants to make progress, then you must inquire from the bona fide spiritual master on this subject matter of how do the living entities merged in the body of the Lord again come back at the time of creation. Now it might just seem like, what do we have to know all that for? Okay, we're going to have a new pop quiz now, see who was listening, right? Like, why do we have to know all that detailed information? And the reason is because Prabhupada says in the 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita that discussing the opulences of the Supreme Lord, he mentions in one purport there that one cannot take to, well, the verse says, one takes to devotional service, Krishna says, one takes to devotional service when they understand my mystic potencies and powers. And Prabhupada comments there that many people say that God is great, right? Oh, God is great, God is great. But they do not know how God is great. What's so great about him? What makes him great? How is he great? Can you explain that? Right? Who has that picture of God? How he is great. So, if you can't understand, and it's not like you have to figure it out, like you have to have you don't have to have a big intellect at all. All you have to do is hear and repeat. No one's asking you to do research and figure it out. Like today, the scientists want to figure out how the material energy works. We're going to go to the laboratories and get out our math books, and we're going to figure out how the material energy works, how the universe was created. And you got to have like a really big intelligence to do that kind of work. But you don't need any intelligence. All you have to do is hear. It's all you have to do. Like a child asks, how does the, fruit appear on the tree? And then you explain how you put the seed in the ground and it grows into the plant and then a flower comes, and etc. You just explain, you hear the explanation and you repeat it. Nothing more, nothing less. So the one who wants to be a progressive devotee needs to know these things. And why do we need to know these things? Because what does it mean to be a progressive devotee? To make progress. To make progress from what? What are we progressing from? We're progressing from just being sentimental devotees to realized devotees. What's a sentimental devotee? One who just understands God is great. With their emotions, with their sentiment. Oh, God is great. My mom taught me God is great. I went to church and they taught me God is great. That's a sentimental devotee. They just have that sentiment. God is great. But they don't understand how God is great. Therefore, if anybody were to ask them a question, whether challenging or submissive, they wouldn't be able to answer it. And if somebody were to actually challenge them about, oh yeah, you say God is great, well, I'm an atheist, and I know for a fact that there is no God. Everything happens. I'll tell you about how great the material laws are. The laws of chemistry and physics. I'm going to tell you how great those are. And you're going to be so impressed, you're going to give up your silly belief in God. Let me see how great your God is. I can smash him in 1 minute by giving you a few physics lessons. So we want to progress from being sentimental devotees to being learned and realized devotees, which again does not require a big IQ, it just requires that you hear. You just hear and you repeat. So, Prabhupada continues his purport. There are two kinds of living entities. There are the ever-liberated, unconditioned living beings, as well as the ever-conditioned living beings. So the ever-liberated, ever means always, nitya. So the ever-liberated living beings are called nitya siddha. They're always perfect. They never fall down. And the ever-conditioned are called nitya bada. Nitya bada, eternally bad. They're conditioned. Of the ever-conditioned living beings, there are two divisions. They are the faithful and the infidels. Infidels means those without faith. Of the faithful, there are again two divisions, namely the devotees and the mental speculators. Sentimentalists are actually in the category of mental speculators because they don't know how God is great. They just believe God is great by their sentiment. And so they come up, and you can see, you go out in the world, ask people, what's your conception of God? Do you believe God is great? Oh yes, I believe God is great. Could you tell me about how he's great? And you'll get like a zillion different answers, what that greatness is. The mental speculators desire to merge into the existence of the Lord or to become one with the Lord, whereas the devotees of the Lord desire to keep separate identities and constantly engage in the service of the Lord. There's no such thing as service if there's not separate identity. If one merges into the Lord, then how can you serve? Because there's three aspects to service. There's he who is served, he who is serving, and then the service, which is the exchange between them. So there's no such thing as service without separate identity from the Lord. The devotees who are not fully purified, as well as the empiric philosophers, become conditioned again during the next creation for further purification. So this is alluding to what is the actual purpose of the creation. Some people kind of have animosity towards God because they say, oh, he made this horrible material world which is full of suffering and evil, and he just stuck us here to suffer, and he must be some kind of sadist or something that he likes watching people suffer. No, there's a purpose to the creation. And what is that? To give us an opportunity to become purified, to educate us and train us in devotional service. Just like you go to the university for an education. You join an apprentice program, right, to become trained in a particular trade or skill. So that's the purpose of the material world. It's like the university. It's like the apprentice program, where you can become, if you so desire, you can become a sadhaka. What is a sadhaka? One who performs sadhana. One is a sadhaka or sadhana bhakti. Practicing sadhaka. Sadhana bhakti means devotional service in practice. We're apprentices. So those who aren't completely purified, who haven't come to the stage of Krishna prema, they have to take birth again in hopes of getting further purified. Of course, one doesn't have to do that. It's not forced. One can abandon the course of purification and glide down to the lower species. That's not recommended. So such conditioned souls become liberated by further progress of devotional service to the Lord. Maharaj Parikshit asked all these questions from the bona fide spiritual master in order to become fully equipped in the science of God. End of Srila Prabhupada's purport. That's what it means to be a progressive devotee, to become fully equipped, not unequipped or partially equipped. We want to become fully equipped in the science of God. Because if one's fully equipped in that science, then there's nothing that can cause one to lose their faith. How many times we talk to devotees and they will say, oh, I've been going through such a hard time materially, there's some hardship materially, and it might be really, really terrible material time. And, I prayed to Krishna to solve the problem. I prayed to Krishna to give me this or give me that, or take away this or take away that. And my God, he never fulfilled my desire, and now my faith is really weak. I really, really don't know if I believe in Krishna anymore. So this is because we're not fully equipped in the science of God. And we might say, really? That's unbelievable. Those tests are going to happen to us. Wait until some really horrible thing happens to you, either with your personal health or you lose your most beloved person. We're all going to be challenged. In fact, we all are challenged at every moment of our life. As sadhakas, every moment of our existence is a test of our faith. Because without being tested, that faith can't grow. It'll be stagnant. So faith cannot remain stagnant. Faith must either grow or it must diminish. Like we're looking at the plants in the garden, right? And I'm looking at some of them saying, they don't look like they've grown a millimeter. They're just kind of stuck there. But actually, they are either growing or they're diminishing, dying. You just sometimes can't see it because it happens so slowly. So like that, faith has to either get stronger or weaker. It can't just stay the same. So the tests are necessary for our growth. So faith is a gift. It's a blessing from the Sarupa Shakti of the Lord, the Lord's internal potency. So today happens to be the appearance day of Srila Gadadhar Pandit.
Whoa.
Srila Gadadhar Pandit is one of the members of the Panchatattva. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivas, Adi Gora Bhaktivinoda. So Gadadhar Pandit is the internal potency of the Lord. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has composed one very nice verse in his Chaitanya Charitamrita. Panchatattvat makam krishnam bhakta rupa sarupakam bhakta avataram bhaktakyam namami bhakta shaktikam. Let me offer my obeisances to Lord Krishna, who is non-different from his 5 features. That Lord Krishna in this age has appeared in 5 features. He has come as Bhakta Rupa, the form of a devotee. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has come as Bhakta Sarupa, Svarupa, the immediate expansion of the devotee. That's Nityananda Prabhu. He's come as Bhakta Avataram, the incarnation of a devotee. That's Advaita Acharya. He's come as Bhakta Akyam, known as a pure devotee. That's Srivas Thakur. And then Bhakta Shakti, the devotional energy. That's Gadadhar Pandit. So Gadadhar Pandit's a very special individual. All 5 of these principles constitute the Godhead. God does not exist without his energies, Shakti. He does not exist without his pure devotees. He doesn't exist without his expansions and incarnations. So Gadadhar Pandit is the fountainhead, if you will. Well, Radharani is Krishna's personification of his Sarup Shakti. She's the personification of the Ladini Shakti. But in Mahaprabhu's Leela, Gadadhar Pandit is that devotional energy. So, very special day today. One can reference the Chaitanya Charitamrita for reading different pastimes of Gadadhar Pandit. But most importantly, the Panchatattva appeared. Lord Chaitanya's four associates, Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and Srivas, appeared to execute and perform the Sankirtan Yajna with him. Because only with them does the Lord taste the fruits of love of Godhead. He doesn't taste the fruits of love of Godhead through ordinary individuals. He only executes his Sankirtan and tastes the fruits of love of Godhead and distributes the fruits of love of Godhead through his immediate associates, the Panchatattva. And
You said there were 5.
Yeah.
Maybe the pure devotees, what were the other 2?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the form of a devotee. Nityananda Prabhu is the expansion of a devotee, expansion of Lord Chaitanya. Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of a devotee. Gadadhar is the devotional energy, and Srivas is the pure devotee. Okay, so we'll stop there, see if there's any discussion.
You said about so many things. You said my balloon brain couldn't take it at all. It took something. The 14 creations and the 10 which merges, one of them, the 4 that you talked about, one of them was Mahaloka. Can you?
Yeah, so in the universe there's 14 levels of planetary systems, and during Brahma's night, the lower 10, which includes our earthly plane, get drowned in the Garbhodak ocean. And then there's 4 planetary systems that don't get drowned. They're called Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. Mahar, Tapa, Jana, Satya, or Brahmaloka. On those planets, the higher rishis and sages live, like the Shapta rishis.
The Mahaloka was.
Maharloka. Maharloka.
How do you spell that?
M-A-H-A-R.
It's not Mahaloka.
No, M-A-H-A-R.
Okay,
L-O-K-A. Maharloka.
I've never heard about that.
Yeah. Mahalakshmi.
But at some point, all 14 of them also.
When Brahma's life finishes, then the
All of
whole
that.
thing is annihilated.
Just kind of thought it, like I've been asking a little bit about what is the causal ocean, and Gopala Ranjana Prabhu said it's made of causes, and so I'm just wondering, like,
Yeah, so it's not water, an ocean of water like we're thinking of an ocean. You could say it's an ocean of potential. So that causal ocean is the primal form of material energy. And what's the first thing that has to exist?
fine.
Causes has to be
All
first,
causes.
right? You can't have any effect without a cause. So we hear how, the first gross thing that's manifested is sound, and then, from sound comes ether, and then onwards and onwards and onwards. But those are all effects. A causes B, causes C, causes D. D is an effect of C, C is an effect of B, B is an effect of A. So you just go back ad infinitum. Where do you start? You start in the causal ocean, which actually is the pradhana, or the primal form of material energy. The 3 modes of material nature are there, but they're not yet interacting. They're just there, dormant. And then when Krishna glances, when Mahavishnu glances at that pradhana, it becomes awake. And now those three modes of nature start bumping into each other and interacting with each other. And that's called Mahatattva. When those three modes of nature start interacting, then the 16 primary causes of the manifested world come into existence. And from there, now, when there's a cause, then they must have an effect. And that goes like a domino. You know, you knock over the first domino, it's like an infinite row of dominoes. So once the causes are manifested, then it's just perpetual manifestation of effects down the line. So it's not, the causal ocean is not an ocean of water like we're thinking, H2O, you know. It's an ocean of energy. The potential material energy is there just waiting to do its thing. But it requires the Lord's glance and the entrance of the time factor for those modes of nature to start interacting with each other. So what do the modes of nature look like? I mean, draw a picture of that, you know. You can't do it. So that's the foundation right there. It's Brahman. It's the Brahman of the spiritual world is nirguna. There's no existence of the modes of nature there. So we say it has no qualities. But when Brahman now it's going to expand into the material world. So then that Brahman is called Saguna, because now the modes of nature are acting there. So it's all Brahman. There's nothing but Brahman. But it's either Nirguna Brahman, which manifests there on the spiritual level, or Saguna Brahman, which means it has material gunas in there.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Can you give a personal class on me on this one and memorize it? It's too much.
Oh, sure, we'll make a date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Srila Gadadhar Pandit ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Bhagavatam ki jai.